Superheroes are awesome, and it's safe to say that we've had many of them over the years, but some of them really stand out. Superheroes like Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, and of course the greatest of them all, Superman. Here are the reasons why Superman is the greatest superhero of all time. I think one of the interesting things with Superman is his backstory. Being this alien that comes to Earth in a ship when he was a small baby. A small baby. Do we even have large babies? Anyway, as everyone knows, he lands in Smallville and is found by Martha and Jonathan Kent. Two regular farmers who are surprisingly awesome people. Like extremely awesome and good-hearted. This becomes an important event because they sort of shape him, mold him into the hero and the man that he eventually becomes. They teach him all the good things, you know, all the great ethical things. Just imagine if some other asshole had found Superman. We don't even need to imagine because those types of stories have been written. One of them is Superman landing in the Soviet Union in the middle of the Cold War, sort of becoming this, Soviet machine that's going to destroy America. But looking at his origin, being from this highly advanced planet Krypton, that's sort of about to explode. His father, Jor-El, sort of finds out that the planet is going to explode. And of course, him being a really good guy, he tries to convince his people like, hey, the planet's about to explode. But no one listens to him. So instead of just, fleeing the planet alongside his family, he sort of stays there and just accepts explosion. Like, dude, no one believed you. What more can you do? Save yourself and your family. But of course, he ended up sending Superman away and, sending him to Earth. He was this brilliant scientist that sort of guides Superman still. Guides him from beyond the grave. He does this by being in this holographic thing in the Fortress of Solitude. Very nice, man, and a bit creepy. Now away from this boring background stuff. Looking at this man's powers. Wow. He's literally one of the strongest DC characters ever, dude. Especially in like the 80s and 90s. I think one time he sneezed and destroyed the whole galaxy. Like, what? He's also held a black hole in the palm of his hand. And he's like bench pressed the weight of the earth for 5 straight days without breaking a sweat. So it's safe to say that this man right here is very, very strong. The people that challenge him in strength in the DC universe are Darkseid and Doomsday. And we know how strong these guys are. They're characters that could probably defeat the combined forces of every superhero on Earth, excluding Superman, of course. Combine his super strength with his superpowers like laser beams from his eyes, super speed when he's running, and that's without the speed force. It's just him moving around using his strength. Obviously he can fly, maybe the quickest living being when he's flying in space. X-ray vision that allows him to stare at women. Cold breath, super hearing, and of course his best ability from the Superman 4 movie, where he can rebuild buildings. The third strong argument here is that Superman's got some of the greatest villains ever, one of them being Darkseid. Now most people would probably say that this guy right here is a Justice League villain, but every time the Justice League face this guy, it's always Superman that goes against him. Without Superman, they would get completely destroyed. Darkseid made his debut in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, issue 134 back in 1970. Weird comic to make your debut in, but hey, it works. He's basically a god from the planet Apocalypse, and his ultimate goal is to acquire the anti-life equation. Another iconic villain is Doomsday, and this creature right here, well, he's known for being the guy that killed Superman. Doomsday ended up defeating literally every superhero in America before Superman had to step in and fight this guy. And even after fighting all the superheroes, he was able to match Superman in strength. Both of them die by just basically punching each other. But the most iconic Superman villain is probably this man right here, Lex Luthor. What makes this villain so awesome is that he's not born with immense physical abilities like a Darkseid or a General Zod. Instead, he's the smartest man on Earth and one of the smartest people in the DC universe, allowing him to challenge Superman in different ways. Most of the time combining kryptonite with some technology to fight him, or creating/hiring someone to fight him. My favorite instance from Lex is when he became president of the United States in order to declare Superman as a public threat, turning all the heroes against him. Pretty weird, like why would the heroes attack him? Or was it the villains that attacked him? I don't remember. Other noteworthy supervillains are General Zod, Brainiac, Metallo, Mongol, and man, I'll try to pronounce this thing right here, Mr. Mixitipetlica. But of course, despite Superman being an awesome superhero, there are some flaws with the character, or reasons as to why he isn't maybe as popular like Batman or a Spider-Man. The most common argument is that he's relatively boring, which I sort of understand because he's so perfect in a sense. Like he's so handsome. Too perfect, like how often do you see him struggle with real life problems? With a character like Spider-Man, he's always struggling with something. Struggling with money, his social life, his family, combined with mental stress. Also, Superman's basically invincible. Like his only weakness really is kryptonite and a bit of magic. But other than that, he's straight up unbeatable. The only reason that he struggles in comics is because he's holding back on purpose. He's even said that it feels like that he's living in a world made of cardboard. Superheroes like Batman and Spider-Man, like, you can injure them, you can hurt them, you can kill them. They've been outsmarted and completely destroyed several times. Bane was able to find out Batman's identity and completely break his back. Green Goblin found out Spider-Man's secret identity and ended up killing Gwen Stacy. The Rogues Gallery is also something that people might complain about, mainly because Superman's got like 5 to 6 great villains, which is awesome because a lot of superheroes don't even have that number of good villains, especially considering that some of these villains are consistently in the top 10 lists of the greatest villains ever. But a guy like Batman, literally he's got the Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, Riddler, Ra's al Ghul, Clayface, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Firefly, and many more. Spider-Man has got the Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Scorpion, Rhino, Sandman, Hydra Man, Hobgoblin, and many more. But despite this brilliant counter-argument from me, you could make the case that Superman's the greatest hero because of what he represents. Although Spider-Man and Batman are awesome, they're not the same symbol of hope as Superman is. Literally, the S on his chest stands for hope. His superpowers allows him to battle some of the most dangerous creatures in the universe. His upbringing resulted in him always doing the right thing. All the other superheroes always look to Superman for inspiration, for leadership. Without him, there wouldn't be a Justice League. Without him, they probably would have lost many battles ago. So for that reason, he's the greatest and most recognizable superhero of all time. So, to make a long, shitty story short, Superman is arguably the greatest superhero of all time, mainly because of what he represents, being a symbol of hope and someone that people look up to for inspiration. All the heroes look to him for leadership, for inspiration, for hope. He's the guy that always steps up and defeats the final boss, so to say. So to all the Spider-Man and Batman fanboys out there, just stop it! Stop it!